head women's soccer coach Nikki Izzo-Brown this afternoon. Coach, if you just want to give us a quick opening statement to preview our NCAA first round matchup at Kentucky tomorrow, then we'll open it up to questions.
Yes, it's very exciting to continue to play in postseason. We feel this is a terrific opportunity, and we know that we will have our hands full with a very talented Kentucky Wildcats.
All right. Go ahead and open up to questions. Just a reminder to please raise your hand when you are ready to ask. And we will begin with Ryan Decker.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. So give us the scouting report, I guess, on Kentucky. How do they like to play, or are they similar to anyone, especially in Big 12 play that you all played against this year?
Yeah, they're a very talented group. I think they're they're going to have traits like a lot of different teams we've played. I don't know if I could stamp them and say, hey, they play like TCU, or hey, they play like Texas Tech or Baylor or Colorado, but I think they have very strong tendencies like a lot of those teams, and that's why they're in the position that they're in and did so well this year. Obviously, they have a very talented group. Their goalkeeper, they're very stingy, giving up goals, and they're tough at home. So those are some obvious statistics, but it's going to be a really, really strong opponent that we will face, and just excited to see how we match up.
Kevin Kinder, you can go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
How are you?
Oh, not bad. Both teams coming off an early loss in their conference tournaments, kind of out of the ordinary probably for both. Does that change motivation any? Does the added rest help you a little bit?
I'm sure it's a little bit of both. I mean, we beat Kansas, they beat Tennessee, and as we know, when you get into conference play, anything can happen. So I would imagine that Troy's definitely got the group a little bit more motivated as we are. So I think a lot of it is internal motivation. And then when you get to the NCAA tournament, everybody knows, what's at stake.
And I know obviously you don't want this, but is it at least a little bit of an advantage? You get a little bit more rest?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, being as experienced as I am, I've bowed out very early, and then we've extended and won, many. So I think even the years that we've won is as exciting as it was. I think it does put you at sometimes a disadvantage in other ways, depending on what team you have. And that's the thing. People ask me that all the time, and I'm like, well, it kind of depends on the team you have, because sometimes, like we did 2 years ago, winning the tournament, it propelled us into the Virginia Tech game and we won. But in other years, it didn't help. So I do think the rest is never a bad thing, depending on what team you have.
Going off of that, I have a question from Joe Procrato at West Virginia Metro News. He couldn't be on today, but he said, what has been the practice plan in the 13 days between games, and how have you manufactured competitive situations in practice to keep the team sharp?
Yeah, that's probably the one thing too, Kevin. When you have too much time off and you kind of get out of your your load schedule and getting into a scenario with that, as much as you want to rest them, we also had to keep that intensity up of game stuff. So we've definitely tried to keep our load and game type rest recovery, but also get the kids the women able to facilitate the intensity of a game. So making sure that it's not too much rest and we're losing a first step. So we've done scrimmages, we've done some intense opened up fields, done some things that would facilitate a game. Keep us sharp.
Ryan Decker, you can go ahead.
So Kentucky started off the year 8-0. They jumped into the national rankings, and then it just seemed like they never got a strong footing in conference play. When looking at them, was there something that you kind of noticed led them to not being as sharp as the season went on, or is that just kind of how it goes once you get into conference play? It's hard sometimes to just keep momentum for an extended period of time.
Well, and I also think when you get into conference play, everybody's scouting, everybody knows you. I think early on you can get into some momentums because teams don't don't really know what the opposition brings, and that's why when you get into conference play, it gets a little bit more complicated because you are getting scouted and you do have a really good understanding how to disrupt a team or how to be more effective against a team. So, and of course, then again, you also have to think about the SEC is the lion's den. So, there's, in a power four, it's never easy to have the consistency. And that's what everybody's hunting. So I'm sure it's a little bit of combination, in my opinion, of both, where it's not necessarily what the Wildcats are doing wrong. It's just, what the rhythm of getting into conference and especially a conference like the SEC, that brings problems.
Any other questions for Coach? All right, we will go ahead and wrap it up there today. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.